Okay, let's go ahead and look at lesson 2.5 for accelerated math. Let me go ahead and log in here. Actually, I just have to get our notes. Chapter 2, 2.5. I have to keep my voice down as my kids are in bed. This here is for the AT class. We are going to try to do a webcam cast. This is new, so it's going to be slightly awkward, but as time goes on this should get better. Alright, this is what you would see in class as you're used to. However, we're doing a webcam so you can actually watch this over the weekend, so it's like you've seen this in class. The title is 2.5, Solving for a Variable. What you need to understand is that you can pause this video at any time, and I would definitely encourage you to take notes. Please do the U-tries, and I'll make this deal with you. Anyone who shows me the U-tries that they saw on the video over the weekend, I'll happily give them 10 extra points for extra credit. So, with that being said, let's do a short video on this and see how we go. Okay, 2.5, solving for a variable. Now, a formula is simply a pattern to follow, otherwise known as an equation that states a rule for a relationship among quantities. Look, simply put, we want to talk about chocolate chip cookies. Well, what's in chocolate chip cookies? Well, there's cookie dough and, of course, chocolate. It's a little more complicated, but you get the idea. Now, in this simple formula, I'm saying that chocolate chip cookies are the addition of cookie dough and chocolate. Again, no major revelations there. But if you notice, here we have water. Now, to get a little sciencey on you, water is 1 part oxygen, 2 part hydrogen. Without 1 part oxygen, 2 part hydrogen, there is no water. Water has to have these things. They are in the formula. Without those things, there is no water. A formula can be made of anything. In this chapter, the formulas will be given to you. This will be the first formula, and you can also follow along on page 107 in your textbook. The one I want you to notice is d equals r times t, so distance equals rate times time. Now, instead of writing the word distance every time, we'll just put d for distance, and r will be for rate, and t will be for time. Now, what will happen is that you'll be given 2 out of the 3 variables, and you have to figure out the third. The example here is the word problem. Suppose you drive 50 miles per hour, and for 6 hours. What was the distance? What I want you to do is go ahead and pause for a second, and with a piece of paper write d equals rt. Go ahead. Once you've done that, below d equals rt, I'd like you to replace the r with 50 and the t with 6, because obviously 50 miles an hour is the rate and 6 hours is the time. By taking 50 times 6, notice how you get 300. Therefore, you'll see that you traveled 300 miles. Now you try. Once again, go ahead and write down in your notes d equals r times t. But this time, go ahead and put the following. You walked for 40 minutes and traveled at a speed of 45 feet per minute. How far did you go? The hint is the rate's 45 and the time is 40. Go ahead and pause at this time and try to work it out. When you have it, go ahead and unpause. Okay, I had to turn off a computer there, it was too loud. So let's take a look. Did you receive this answer? 1,800 feet. Now the question is, how would you get that? Now remember, I'm not actually writing on my smartboard, so my handwriting won't be as good, but we'll give this a try here. d equals rt, or r times t if you prefer. So the rate's 45, time is 40. So 45 times 40. Now you can use a calculator or whatever you prefer. You'll notice here that 0 goes here. 4 times 5 is 20, excuse me. Carry the 2. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. And notice that makes your 1,800. Great. Hope you got the right answer. Let's move on. The next thing it says, in 2004, Ernst van Dyke won the wheelchair race of the Boston Marathon with a time of about 1.3 hours. The race was about 26.2 miles, so almost of a real marathon. In fact, the Boston Marathon is a very good marathon. What was his average speed? Use the formula D equals RT and round your answers to the nearest tenth. Again, D equals RT, no surprise there. But this time it wants the speed, which is the rate. Let's solve for the rate, D equals RT. But in this case, I want to get rate by itself. So we need to get rid of the T. Now why? If you notice, RT is right here. To get R, I have to undo the times T. If you remember in class, the opposite of times is divide. Therefore, we'll divide T. But if you divide T on one side, we have to divide it to the other, because you have to have balance on an equation. Remember that when you have a times something and divide, it goes away. So this goes away, leaving the R. Over here, you still have the over T, which is fine. So D over T equals R. Or to simplify, R, which is over here, same thing, equals D over T. Now I'll just plug it in. So notice how I have right here the 1.3 hours. That's the time. Notice I have the 26.2, which is the miles. So all you got to do is plug in what we have, which is 26.2 over 1.3. Take top divided by bottom. So use your calculators, and hopefully you got this. Now, obviously I don't want you to write that whole thing. You can just round to the nearest tenth or 20th. I mean, excuse me, 10th or 100th, whichever makes you happy. I'll certainly take 20.2. Now a formula can be more complex, but you do the same thing. Take this here. To convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, and notice that you'll find this formula also in your science book if you find the right page on it. It says Celsius equals Fahrenheit minus 32, which goes first, then times 5/9. Therefore, if it's now 80 degrees Fahrenheit, what's the temperature in Celsius? Well, all we have to do, since we are given the Fahrenheit, is plug it in where it says. So instead of F minus 32, it now becomes 80 minus 32. So go ahead, pause for a second, and try to work this out. Pause. Okay, you should have been unpaused by now. 80 minus 32 is 48. 48 times 5 divided by 9. Don't forget that a fraction, you times by the top and divide by the bottom. That's right. Therefore, that's all a fraction is. Remember, if you have 1 divided by 4, that just means 1/4. So 5/9 is just times 5 divided by 9. So with your calculator, take 48 times 5 and then divide by 9. Hopefully you got 26.67 or 26 2/3, whichever makes you happier. Easy way to multiply fractions, top divided by bottom, we just talked about that. So I'm ahead of the game. Now you try. I'd like you to go ahead and try using 100 for Fahrenheit. Go ahead and pause it this time. Okay, hopefully you have the answer as follows. You plug 100 in, minus 32. Notice that should make 68, I believe, times 5 divided by 9. So 68 times 5 divided by 9. And I'm getting 37.78. I hope you got the same. That sounds pretty reasonable. I think that's right. Let's do it again with 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's plug it in. Now this time you might say, wait a minute, that's going to make a negative number, but that's okay. 20 minus 32 makes negative 12. So just take negative 12 times 5 divided by 9. Negative 12 times 5 is negative 60, and negative 60 divided by 9 is going to be, let's see here, oh, you put a 6 in there, 54, 6, 0, another 6, forever. Don't forget it's negative. I'm getting about negative 6.7, give or take. You can round it as you like. Now we'll change the formula to find F. This is where it gets a little more choppy. We'll start by taking the Celsius formula. So we'll go ahead and put Celsius equals the same thing, F minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. But this time, what the difference is, we want to get F by itself. Now remember, you have to start peeling the outer layers first, so this has to go. Now the easiest way is to times by its reciprocal. In other words, instead of 5 over 9, you're going to times by 9 over 5. Remember, if you do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. So like that. And notice how this is here, and this is now here. Why? Because when you times something by its reciprocal, 9 times 5 is 45. And 5 times 9 is 45. And anything divided by itself is 1, so all this just becomes 1. And anything times 1 is itself anyway, so it basically goes away. Now, we finally have F minus 32. The way to get rid of the minus 32 is add 32. So I'll add 32 over here, add 32 over here. Make sure that you cannot add 32 to this. It just goes alongside it. I usually keep the variables first. It's easier than plus 32 equals the F. There you have it. So, now that I have the Fahrenheit formula of F Fahrenheit equals 9/5 C plus 32, let's plug in when it is 20 degrees Celsius, and let's see what you get. Go ahead and pause it this time and give it a try. Okay, hopefully you've paused. Let's see what you get. I'm going to get 20 times 9, which is 180, divided by 5. Then I'm going to add 32. Well, 180 divided by 5, I'm thinking is 36, I believe. Wait. Times 10 divided by 2. Let's see. No, that's not right. Let me go ahead and put that together again. 180 divided by 5. I should be able to do this in my head, but it's 11:30 at night. I'm getting a little punchy. Put in 3, it's going to be 36, but we'll see here. 36. Good. So all this becomes 36 plus 32. So I'm coming up with 68, excuse me. And I have 68. I hope you had it too. Now you try. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to plug in a 30 though. So we're going to plug a 30 in here. Pause it this time and please try. Again, on the sheet of paper, which you're going to turn into me for 10 points if you have it done. Go ahead at this time. Pause. And we're back. Hopefully it's done. So I'm going to take 30 times 9 divided by 5. 30 times 9 is 270 divided by 5. And that's going to turn out to be, I believe, 54. That looks about right. Plus 32. And that's going to make 86. I know this is 84. That was a misprint. It's actually 86. I hope you got that as well. Now, there will be many times in this book where your final answer will not be a number but a different formula, such as the following. This is the example on page 108. So check out page 108, example 3, for further help. It says m minus n equals 5, and all it wants to know is for m. Notice how it's not looking for an actual numerical answer, it just wants m by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of minus n, we're going to add n. Notice here that I add n. Now I don't know what n is, but it doesn't matter. All I need to know is I have to get rid of it from one side by adding the n to get rid of the negative and put it on the other. So it's okay. I add the n here. Notice how it goes away. I add in here. Please, you cannot add 5 and n together. They go side by side because it's like doing apples and oranges. Boy, that's the worst looking apple I've ever seen. It looks more like a cherry, but you get the idea. So now notice how I added an n here, which made the negative go away, leaving the m by itself. I added the n here, so now m equals n plus 5. M equals n plus 5. That's good. So you try. A plus 9 equals b. Find for a. Go ahead and pause in this time. Hopefully you have it done. Let's see what you got. To find for a, to get a by itself, instead of plus 9, we're going to minus 9. Well, minus 9 on one side, I'm going to minus 9 on the other. So a, which is now by itself, equals b minus 9. And that's really your answer. Now, I don't know what the value of a is unless you give me the value of b. If you tell me what b is, then I can tell you what a is, but not beforehand. Let's try another you try. 4a minus 12 equals x. Find for a. Here's a hint. First get rid of the negative 12, and then get rid of the times 4. Go ahead and pause it this time, and I'll wait. Okay. Hopefully you have that done. Let's see what you got. I'm going to go ahead and first get rid of the minus 12. Why? Because it's further away from the a. So I add 12 over here. Remember, I can't add 12 to the x. I just add it alongside it. So I have 4a equals x plus 12. Then, instead of times 4, I'm going to divide. But when you divide anything on one side, you have to divide everything on the other. Therefore, these do cancel and become a. Now you have a choice. You can leave it like this, but that's not really good. I want you to put under 4 for each one. I'm happy to leave this at x over 4. But then 12 divided by 4 makes 3. This is certainly good for those who just have to have a higher standard. You can do this, and when you have this, you can put 1x or 1/4 x plus 3. But really, if you get this here, I'm a happy camper. Only the truly elite have to get this, if that's you. Moving on. You try again. T equals 3/5 g plus 52. Find for g. Go ahead. Pause. Pause it. Okay. Let's see what you got. First, I got rid of the 52. So, let's slide this over here. Get out of the way. You get out of the way too. Yeah, well, you get out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and minus 52 over here. And minus 52 over here. Remember, I can't take t minus 56 on top of each other. I put it alongside like this. T minus 56 equals 3/5 g. Now, in order to get rid of times 3/5, I'm going to times by 5/3. By the way, for those of you who are calc savvy, you may also just divide by 3/5, but be careful, because here you're going to have to do this for the whole other side. So I really suggest timesing by 5/3. It just makes it easier. These will can't turn into 1 because 3/5 times 5/3 equals 1, leaving just the g. 5/3 times t, that's all I can do there. Now 5/3 times negative 56. Well, since it's going to be a negative, I'll just clean that up and make it a negative. I could have plus negative or just minus, either or. 5 times 56 is going to be 280, and 280 divided by 3. So we have here 5/3 t, minus 280 over 3. I would ask someone for calc support, but since I'm by myself, I guess I'm just going to have to put 5/3 t minus, let's see, I know that 27 divided by 3 is 9, so I can put a 9 down, and that's 270, 90, 10 left, so 93 1/3. So the answer I get is 5/3 t minus 93 1/3 equals g. I truly hope I'm right with that. If not, feel free to have some fun with me Monday morning. Now, you can even use symbols, as weird as that sounds. Who cares? You're still doing the same procedure. So think of smiley face plus 5 equals star. I don't know what smiley face is, nor do I know what star is, but I do know this. If I want to get smiley face by itself, plus 5's got to go. So what you do is, instead of plus 5, we're going to minus 5. Minus 5 from one side, minus 5 to the other. Therefore, I'll do that, leaving just my smiley face and equals star plus 5. Even though I'm not sure how smiley face and star are in an equation together, in this case it is. Now you try. 2 dinosaur minus 5 equals 15. Do it. Pause. Okay, hopefully you paused. Or either look real weird because you're not pausing. Either way, let's go ahead and add 5 over here and add 5 over here. And I forgot to say it, but I guess I'm trying to say find dinosaur. Find dino. So cancel this out. Now I got 2 dino. I'm not even going to attempt to draw this with just this pen. 2 dinos equals 20. Now, instead of times 2, I'm going to divide by 2. And it looks like 1 dyno equals 10. I can do a little copy and paste, I suppose, there. So 1 dyno equals 10, I hope. Whew. And we're done. Congratulations on the first webcast. Now, I realize I put a different webcast in Friday afternoon. I just decided to be inspired. I just got Camtasia for my computer. We're going to give this a try. Again, if you happen to see this video and if you happen to take notes on it, show me Monday morning and get 10 free extra points. Thanks again for watching. Good night.